You ever wish you had a crystal ball? Something to help you make better decisions? Well, businesses feel that way all the time. But what if I told you the key to seeing the future is probably just sitting right there in your spreadsheets? Today, we're going to unpack a super powerful but really simple technique that turns old data into new predictions. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's start with a classic business puzzle. You've got a product, and you got to pick a price. Price it too high, nobody's going to buy it. Price it too low, and you're just leaving money on the table. It feels like a total guessing game, right? But what if it wasn't?
The secret is almost always hiding in plain sight. It's right there in your historical data. Look at this table. We can see how many units we sold at different price points in the past. The answer to our big pricing question, it's literally buried in these numbers.
But let's be honest, just staring at a table of numbers like this, it's not super helpful. Our brains just aren't built to see complex patterns in a spreadsheet. It's kind of just a jumble of figures, and the key insight we're looking for is totally hidden.
Okay, but watch this. When we take those exact same numbers and just plot them on a simple chart, bam! Suddenly, all that chaos becomes crystal clear. A pattern just jumps right out at you. As the price along the bottom goes up, the number of sales on the side clearly goes down. See? That's not a guess anymore. That's a real tangible relationship.
Now, this awesome technique of finding and modeling these kinds of relationships in data, it actually has a name. It's called regression analysis. It's like a fundamental tool in the world of predictive analytics, and it's what lets us go from just looking at the past to actually using it to predict the future. So, if we can find these patterns, what do they actually look like? Are they all just simple straight lines sloping down? Well, not exactly. The data can tell a few different kinds of stories.
Sometimes, yeah, the connection is a really simple straight line. We call that linear. But other times, it might be a more complicated curve, which we'd call nonlinear. Both are totally valid. It just depends on the story your data wants to tell.
Hey, this is just as important. Sometimes there's no pattern at all. The data points are just a random cloud. And you know what? That's the data telling you, hey, stop looking for a connection here, because there isn't one.
Okay, so let's get back to our pricing data. We definitely saw a clear linear pattern there. So the next logical step is to turn that visual pattern into a solid mathematical rule that we can actually use to make predictions.
And here it is. This line that cuts right through the middle of our data points, that's called the trend line. It's basically the single best summary of the relationship we found. This line is our rule. And that little equation you see there, that's the magic formula we can now use to predict sales.
Now, these rules don't always have to be simple, straight lines. They can actually come in all sorts of mathematical shapes, like polynomials that have curves and bends, or even those exponential curves that shoot way up. The whole game is just to find the shape that best fits your particular set of data.
And that brings us to a really, really important question. If there are all these different kinds of rules we could use, how in the world do we know which one is the best one? The most accurate fit. How do we pick the winner?
Well, we use this brilliantly simple little thing called R squared. Honestly, you can just think of it as a fit score, or maybe a confidence score for our rule. It's just a number between 0 and 1, and the guideline is simple. The closer your R squared score is to 1, the better your rule is at explaining the data.
So what does this look like in the real world? Well, we can actually test a bunch of different models on the same data and see which one gets the highest score. To show you, let's look at a totally different set of data, historical prices for crude oil. We can try all these different rules, logarithmic, exponential, polynomial, and you can see right there, each one gets its own unique R-squared fit score.
And the winner is the third-order polynomial. It's got the highest score, hands down. And when you actually plot that rule on the chart, you can totally see why. Look at how closely that line hugs the real data points. It's a beautiful fit.
Yeah, a score of 0.928, that's incredibly strong. It basically tells us that our model explains about 93% of all the price changes we see in the data. That gives us a ton of confidence to actually use this thing for future predictions.
Okay, so now we have all the pieces of the puzzle. We found a pattern in our pricing data, we fit a mathematical rule to it, and we are really confident that it's a good one. So, let's circle all the way back and finally solve that pricing problem from the beginning.
This is it. This is our golden rule. This simple little formula is the best description of our price and sales data. All it's saying is that for every single dollar we increase the price, we can expect our sales to drop by about 9.5 units. It's clear, it's simple, and it's something we can act on.
and using it is unbelievably easy. Let's just say we're thinking about maybe setting the price at $125. All we have to do is plug that number into our formula. The math spits out an answer. We should expect to sell around 19,323 units. No more guessing. It's that simple.
And this is the real key here. This whole thing, it isn't just a tool for pricing products. It's a prediction engine. Anywhere you've got historical data and you think there might be a relationship between two things, you can use regression analysis to peek into the future.
Just think about it for a second. You could use this to predict the value of a house based on its square footage. You could forecast hiring needs for your whole company. You could estimate insurance risks, analyze marketing campaigns, forecast economic trends. Heck, you could probably even use this to build a championship fantasy football team. The applications are absolutely everywhere.
So you see, the real magic isn't in some mystical crystal ball. It's hiding in the data you probably already have. There are hidden patterns all around us, just waiting to be found. And with a simple tool like regression analysis, you have the power to turn what you know about the past into what you can expect in the future. So the only question left is, what future are you going to predict?